on top of the world. Blue skies and nights, winds never keeping track of time. Sonic skin driving and all I can breathe is you. So I jump only for this ride.
This is Dr. Anderson. Go ahead. You're on mute.
I was trying to unmute myself. Now, thank you so much. This is something that has been very important to me. And as we have been working on our Office of Racial Equity and Social Justice, it's been very important to me that the Asian voice has been represented through that process and that we ensure that takes place. Mental health issues in our Asian community are something which were first really brought to my attention almost 20 years ago when I was on Danville's Town Council. And I don't know how many of you here know my dear friend Xia Shen, who founded the Culture to Culture Foundation, where she was one of the first Chinese social workers in Berkeley. And she began that call, raising awareness of all of the barriers for individuals who are of Asian descent of getting the help that they need. And so in my district, working with Xia, we've been able to do some really great raising awareness really over about the past 20 years, particularly with youth, because that is such a significant issue with the depression, with the mental health, with families saying, just get over it. You're going to be fine. Just keep going. We don't do that in our family. And the very high suicide rate. And prior to the pandemic, we were working with Stanford University, where they were doing this fabulous Chi-Pao program, where they were doing role playing with doctors, et cetera. But what I've learned and what I'm seeing reinforced today is while we can raise awareness, as many of our efforts have been, it's finding the practitioners, finding individuals who are provide that same cultural background that might be more beneficial to individuals. And I think, as Erica pointed out, it's hiring the right people. And it's something that our county is facing, just finding enough behavioralists in general, but particularly I think people of Asian descent who might speak the same language, who might have the same cultural experiences, which might be even more beneficial. So I see there being opportunities for us to do a lot of work going forward. As I got your goals, what you're setting forth about an hour before we began, read through those. I think those are all worthwhile things to work toward. Obviously, sometimes it's not just the money, it's sometimes finding the people to make these things happen. And it's something where I see my entire board of supervisors very, very committed to ensuring that we meet the needs of the entire community. And I'm grateful that I get to represent, just under a third of my district are people of Asian descent. And I think as I hear from the work being done, both in the Chinese community, but also in the Indian community and in the Korean community as well, there's still much more work to be done. So thank you for convening this today. And I appreciate all of the what was shared, as was expressed early on. Mental illness does not know any socioeconomic boundaries. I think of one of my dearest best friends growing up, Japanese, with a very challenging upbringing. And she is still at age 62 struggling so hard because back then it wasn't okay to reach out and get the help that she probably should have had back then. So looking forward to continue working on this effort, and I thank you all.
Thank you. Lydia?
Thank you, Supervisor Anderson. Anderson 女士就是说，她已经在 County 工作了20多年，一直是在种族平等和社会正义这个领域，所以呢，她特别的知道这个雇佣多语言、多文化的这种人员的重要性。就是今天大家的诉求，她全部都听到了。她说，除了有这个资金的方面的问题以外，更重要的就是说要能够找到有这种语言文化背景的人。所以呢，她是希望大家不断的把这种意识传达给能够听见我们声音的各种人。谢谢。
Thank you, Lydia. I see Robert. You're up next.
Thank you so much, V, and to everyone else here. This has been a really amazing presentation. It is really well paired with the I'm sorry about the background noise, got small children here as well. Really well paired with the policy recommendations. Now is the time, and our partnership is strong. County Supervisor John Joya is going to be chair this year, and two of his highest priorities have been and remain racial equity and social justice in all policies, and health equity in all of our communities. This is about language. This is about cultural competence. This is about a commitment and resources to making sure that all of our communities share in health and equity and a feeling of belonging in our county. We really count on you as partners to help guide us, to help inform our policies. And now has never been a more propitious time than what we are working with at this particular moment in history. We are really excited. We want to get energy from you, work alongside you. You heard from Board of Supervisors, Candace Anderson. You've heard from Erica Jensen and Gilbert and leaders in our system. You see that the will is there, but part of that, of course, is concepts and resources make a tremendous difference, but ultimately it's about people. It's about getting humans of backgrounds into certain places to help us make what we have, make our visions actionable and real in our communities. So let's continue to work together, guide us, push us, work alongside us, and let's establish health equity, mental health, health in all policies, and health for our Asian communities as our highest priorities. Again, I know, speaking on behalf of County Supervisor Joya, we are so happy to have your partnership. And today's conversation, while inspiring, represents another beginning rather than an ending. So let's move forward and let's make 2023 a banner year in terms of making progress toward our collective goals. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Robert. Lydia.
Thank you, Robert. So Robert 是那个代表 County of Supervisor 的。他说 County 一直都有两个重点，一个就是种族平等，一个就是健康平等，在各个族裔中间。然后他觉得今天的这个展示就是特别好，那个故事和需求是非常完美的结合在一起。他说呢，这个概念和实施是两个不同的事情，但是只要有每个人的参与，我们就可以形成一个非常强大的联盟。谢谢。
Thank you. Matthew, nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me to this really lovely forum. I wanted to thank you, V, and Gigi and Siri and others for putting this fantastic webinar educational forum for us to come together. Wanted to acknowledge Board of Supervisor Anderson for her support being here, and also Supervisor Joya's office represented here. Erica, thank you for talking about our support from the Health Services Department's point of view. My name is Matthew Liu, and I'm the Deputy Director for Behavioral Health. Today, our director, Dr. Suzanne Tavano, is out of town and couldn't be here, and just wanted me to say a few words about our support to this effort. I came to the county about 24 years ago, the first 2 years as a consultant and person. And within 2 years, I really, fell in love with this county and started to become a case manager, mental health case manager 22 years ago, becoming a permanent full-time person. through the years, I have seen so much growth. I was literally the only Asian clinical staff in the whole Contra Costa Behavioral Health Division. Now we have a lot of the MFTs and the LCSW and the psychologists slowly hiring across. And so I think earlier what I heard from people saying about having interpreter, I really agree that having interpreters really important so that we could serve people culturally and linguistically most appropriate. But more importantly, having clinical staff who are not only trained to do that, but also have the language capacity be able to do that during psychotherapy sessions and whatnot. And within behavioral health, we have an internship program where we have some students coming in, and that's our pipeline where we try to get more people to come in, and that's how we recruit for our workforce. So what I want to end by saying is that currently, under the MHSA, the Mental Health Services Act, we're going through a 3-year process of developing our plan. This coming Thursday, the 15th, we will have our one of our third last community forum where we solicit feedbacks from all of our community stakeholders to understand what the gaps are, where the needs are at, and collect all that information so that we can develop a comprehensive program, including, prevention, educational training programs, and developing service that we be able to provide to the community. So after this meeting, I will be sending information to V, who could share that information to all of you in terms of our community forum planning process. And we will have our last one on December 15th, which is this coming Thursday. Thank you very much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Matthew.
Matthew. Lydia.
Yeah.Matthew 是这个 County 精神健康的负责人，他在这个County 已经工作了20多年，然后呢，他是看见了整个 County 在这一块的这个成长，他觉得除了翻译很重要以外呢，他觉得雇佣这种专业的临床的这些人员效果更好。然后我们这个时间也非常的对，他们正在做一个3年的计划，怎么样子推广这些各方面的活动。现在呢正好下个星期是他们有一个收集社区意见的时间，所以我们这一次的演示是非常的及时。谢谢。他会把我们的意见带回去。
Okay, well, thank you everyone for being here. I promise just another 5 minutes and I can release you to enjoy your weekends. But I just wanted to say thank you so much for everyone here. My heart is beating so fast. I think this was such a beautiful event, and I'm so encouraged to hear that not only do we have, just as Roberts put it, it's the will. I feel like there's a lot of will from this group, from our systems partners, as well as our community and nonprofit partners, and that will and that spirit and that dedication to, making this happen. And, Dr. Philip Liu and I spoke earlier yesterday about, one important concept in this, the concept of people, not systems, right? Like we need systems in order to advance things, but what we need is people who are dedicated. And I think, Matthew, you alluded to this as well. We need people who are dedicated to drive these systems. And I feel like we have that here. So, let's talk about next steps, because I'm all about, sort of putting things into action. So the next steps here are, one, you will all hear from me. You'll all get an email from me. We will put together a report. We'll send this out. You will get a finalized version of the policy recommendations in a much nicer looking format. And we would like to be able to meet Supervisor Anderson and Robert with your staff, as well as county staff as well, to really just sit down and really discuss and research and do a landscape analysis and feasibility sort of study of some sort for these recommendations. We, want to know what exactly, what is it going to take to make it happen, right? And we need sort of professional staff to support with that. We are inviting all of you. So everyone here is invited to attend our upcoming, we haven't had any meetings for the rest of this year, but in the new year, we'll start having our monthly API Advocacy Coalition meetings again, which is open to everyone. But we are rolling out something new, and that is our COCO API Executive Community Strategy meeting. So we are putting together, we're still in the process, but we're putting together an executive committee of some of our senior leaders with myself to really work on decision making and strategy for the upcoming years that we will be here. And we invite our system leaders here to be a part of that as well, so we can continue to talk about how do we make this happen. We also like to, this is again for Supervisor Anderson and Robert, we'd like to get more information about the Measure X Innovation Grant. We are looking to, and this is for this particular program as well as sort of the API Coalition as a whole, we want to apply to the innovation grant in order to get some funding to do a countywide API community needs assessment. As you can see here, we have a great selection of folks here who have provided much valuable information, and through our networks working with other API populations, the Laotian community, the Nepali community, we have a lot of people who have given us a lot of feedback that I have been privileged to be able to relay to all of you now. But, in order to create that, big system change that we're pushing for, obviously we're going to need a much larger sample size. So that's what we're looking for. We are going to be sending out the policy recommendations as a form of a letter of support. So we're asking you folks here to officially endorse our recommendations by giving us our logo. And the last thing is, following up with the report for this meeting. So I will put together documentation, I will send it out, and I will follow up with each of you about meetings for next steps going forward. Shelley, Tiffany, Leo, I will work with you to talk about how to bring our cohort members into this process as well. So, I want to just think our next thing is we're going to do is just thank everybody. And I just want to thank everybody here, all of you for your courage, what our systems leaders, what I'm asking you to do, what we have been asking you to do is to sit and really lean into that uncomfortableness, and really be brave and really to just venture there and be able to imagine sort of things that have not happened yet, but need to happen, and that willingness to, make it happen. So I really want to thank you for all that. Our community members, thank you so much. This would not happen if you are the heart and soul of this event and this program, and we are so grateful to you by providing information that we would not be able to get anywhere else. So thank you everyone. Anybody have any last minute appreciations or thoughts before we head off? And you're free to just unmute.
And we
Yes.
can Lydia do a little translation.
Oh yes, go ahead, Lydia. Yeah.
非常简短，就是V 在这个整个的交谈过程中，就是听到了所有与会成员的这个意愿，然后呢，他就是列出了5个行动方案，他会在下一步跟所有今天的与会者，进行把我们提出来的这些项目可以慢慢的都实施起来。谢谢。
Thank you. And V, can we take a group picture?
Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
Group picture.
Everyone, just turn on camera and I will do a screenshot right now and we'll be all in the picture. Thanks, everyone. All right, 3, 2, 1.
There's one more page.
Yeah, just one more second. And 3, 2, 1. All right, we're done. Thank you.
One more
All right,
page.
thank
You
you.
over to the second page.
Yeah, I already did.
Okay.
all of us.
All
Yeah.
right. Okay. Thank you. Thank you
Great. Thank you
all.
so much.
Thank
谢谢
you
大家
all.
嗯哼
Thank you
谢谢大家
so much.
嗯
Thank you，大家
Great
辛苦了，谢谢。